Maksimum tu The live streaming.
InsyaAllah. Kalau dia respon dia terhadap soalan-soalan yang cukup menarik.
Live stream
Post kena grill sikit The live stream.
Kalau dia respon dia terhadap soalan-soalan yang cukup menarik.
Post kena grill sikit The live stream.
Kalau dia respon dia terhadap soalan-soalan yang cukup menarik.
Post kena grill sikit live stream.
Kalau dia respon dia terhadap soalan-soalan yang cukup menarik.
Post kena grill sikit
Kalau dia respon dia terhadap soalan-soalan yang cukup menarik.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Are my video and audio clear to everyone?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I can hear you, bro.
Okay, thanks. Video pun okay, right in the center of whatever background. I cannot see my own video. Can someone help me to somehow?
I think it looks very good. I mean,
Sure.
exactly in the center. Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Not too up, not too low.
Yeah,
You
slowly.
look very handsome today. Mashallah.
Handsome every day. Oh, Dr. Adili, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you, Datuk?
I've not seen you for many months, if not years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been reading your Facebook postings on the fiqh of halal and haram, and I found it very interesting.
Handsome every day. But I stopped for a while, but managed to compose about 12 or 13 series altogether. But I need to, because lately is too busy with so many routine jobs, so I have not read a lot, so I need to go back and read again. Sebab benda ni perlukan pembacaan. Idea ada, cuba nak bagi the Quranic context, the Sunnah context, so a bit challenging ya. So kena read baliklah buku-buku yang adabiyat yang tentang khuluqiyah, ahkamul suq, ahkamul sultan, ahkamul idarah. Jadi this is very specialized punya area of discipline yang university do not teach our student, to be honest. Very specialized area, ahkamul suq, for example, al-hisbah, ahkam dipanggil pengurusan hamba abdi, macam mana nak relate dengan kita punya foreign workers in their labor camp, the way we treated them, or our own mates. So this fiqh yang interesting, but we need to go back to the original macam the treatment of slave, the treatment of underprivileged, the treatment of aitam or orphan for that matter. What be the character, the akhlak of the manager, they call it the penjaga amanah al-amin sebagainya. So the more we dig, the more we understand that Sharia is the religion of civilization. humanity, whatever. Dr. Abu Hafiz, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. How are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah, asakum bi khair. Alhamdulillah.
I think we are already live, is it?
We're already live on YouTube, so we can start in 1 minute, inshallah. We start at sharp 10 o'clock.
All right, lovely.
Okay, Dr. Abu Hafiz.
Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everyone, alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone on YouTube and other channels for our session this morning in conversation with the President of International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM, yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Daud Bakar. I would like to express my sincere appreciation on behalf of organizers, which is ASA, Academic Staff Association, and IIUM, World Debate and Oratory Center, for your participation, sir, in this discussion this morning. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I believe part of my obligation here as a host is to introduce our speaker, but as an Arabic saying says, al-ma'ruf la yu'arraf, the known needs no introduction yet. I believe a short introduction about our guest will not be a problem at all. Our guest holds a vast experience both in academia and corporate world. Datuk Dr. Daud Bakar was the Deputy Director, Student Affairs at the International Islamic University Malaysia between 2002 and 2005. And at the moment, he is our President of IUM as well as the Chairman of Majlis Agama Islam Wilayah Persekutuan or MAWIP. All right. So today in 1 hour and 15 minutes, our interesting discussion topic today is on fiqh halal and haram in academia, amanah and integrity. I would like to ask a number of questions, Datuk, which related closely to the daily practice of academia, including lecturers, researchers, and even the students themselves. But before I want to ask our guests with such questions, I like to know from your own perspective, why we need to talk and discuss about the importance of amanah and integrity in academic world, particularly in our university, IIUM. Please, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairi khalqihi wa imamil muttaqin wa sayyidil mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. My beloved moderator, Dr. Abu Hafiz, my fellow colleagues at both Academic Staff Association and IWON, and all other listeners who have joined into this YouTube or Facebook or what have you, allow me to put on record my profound gratitude and appreciation to this very important invitation for me to speak to all the academic and intelligentsia of the university, not only perhaps of IIUM, but other listeners and viewers this morning. Alhamdulillah, this is a very important session because it will underscore and perhaps unlock the missing link and dimension of new student that govern every single square meter of our life or square foot of our life. This is the very nature of Sharia. It governs the whole behavior of a human being, what more of Muslim, and what more of intellectual, the so-called scholars, those who have been entrusted to transfer and transform the knowledge and transform the society. Dr. Abu Hafiz, I'm reminded by the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when the Prophet has sent Mu'adh bin Jabal away from Medina to become qadiyan wa mu'alliman, to become the judge as well as the mu'allim, the teacher, if you like, the scholar teaching the Yemenis. And Yemenis have been one of the best nations of the world until recently. They have spread Islam to Africa and to our part in Malaysia. So Mu'adh bin Jabal should be happy now down there, because the impacts of his teaching and da'wah of the Yemenis have made the Yemenis one of the best da'i of the world, without any doubt. Compared to the company who went north, he went south, and the south seemed to be more soft and more intellectual and more of different character compared to the companion who went north all the way to Europe and Central Asia. Put that aside. So when the Prophet sent him to Yemen, and as everyone knows, he was asked what to do if he were to pass a judgment on something which is new, 400 kilometers away, or perhaps 500 kilometers away from Medina. And he said, well, I will try my best to look into the Quran, otherwise into the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then what's next? Asked the Prophet, and he said, well, I will exercise my ijtihad, my own reasoning, wala alu, and I will not be negligent in my exercise. Negligent means he would not be doing something less than the watermark, less than the performance required of someone. So in the case of academia, we have to remember this hadith, because this is a very interesting hadith. It talks about the profession of a judge as well as a teacher, and we cannot be negligent in our duties and assignment. And of course, the highest degree of not committing negligence is to be of full degree of amanah and integrity. And perhaps I would like to add another vertical in this session, with your permission, Dr. Abu Hafiz and the rest of the colleagues. The performance, the high performance. So we need to bring the insight behavior, because integrity and amanah sometimes are very much inside someone, and people can claim to be men of integrity, a man of amanah, but at the same time, we need to bring forth the hardware of it in addition to the software, which is very much high performance. We need to see of high performance of amanah, high performance of integrity, and high performance of day-to-day duties which we are supposed to do. And that should be visible enough. Visibility is the key. For me, the keyword to measure the impacts of a good lecturer and academician, or perhaps a researcher and intelligentsia in our great university, in other universities as well. So this is something I think the visibility aspect must be seen, and that's why anything Mu'adh did wrong over there, immediately the Prophet got the report in Medina. And as you know, the Prophet has warned and not warned, has reminded Mu'adh few times of his behavior, which is not showing his passion and his mercy to the people of Yemen. Yeah, I will stop at that juncture for the next question here.
All right, lovely. That is the very good introduction from our guests. Datuk, I hope this session, I want to make it as much as honest discourse instead of we are talking so many rhetorics. Yeah. So I would like to put it for the second question into a perspective. You have recently highlighted various dimensions of the fiqh of halal and haram, which according to you, it is not just about labeling an action to be permissible or impermissible, halal or haram, but it's also about nurturing values. You argue that fiqh rulings which are divorced from the positive values address divine legislation, yes, but ignore the importance of nurturing values. Although initially the discourse revolved around financial and business transactions, you then touched upon various issues such as negligence in performing one's duties and responsibility, misusing authority, bullying at the workplace, unconducive ecosystem, which encourage misappropriation and etc. Many of these can be extended to academia, such as the issue of cutting corners to fulfill KPIs, which perhaps sometimes can be so unrealistic, trust deficit, and difference in expectation between academic members and the management, and more fundamentally, the confusion of the role of academics in an evolving environment which demands certain adjustments. That's the perspective. In relation to this, could you elaborate on issues faced by academics which would perhaps require us to rethink about the fiqh of halal and haram pertaining to a plethora of issues in academia? Please.
Thank you, Dr. Abu Hafiz, for highlighting those specific and niche areas where most, if not all, the academicians and the lecturers and teachers are supposed to take note and are supposed to be aware of whenever they sign the contract to become a lecturer. Because, you know, when we sign the contract to become a lecturer or a teacher, it's a different contract for becoming a just administrator or perhaps any other profession in the society. Without going into detail, I think you have highlighted the issues of, you know, the behavior of the lecturers in fulfilling the required KPIs, and perhaps some of the lecturers trying to show off a bit here and there. Let it be frank and, you know, open about the discussion. And some of them wanted to show their muscle, that they are more knowledgeable than others in terms of their narrative, in terms of their presentation, in terms of their you know, communication. Not only upon the student, I've seen that when I was at the university before, even very sadly among themselves, peers to peers. So the more we talk, the more we have to realize that the lecturers are supposed to be the role model, because as you know, everyone, role models speak louder than books and lecture notes in the classroom. So by right, we should be a working role model among our students. They are still young and like our children, and among our peers and colleagues at the respective faculty or even the university. The problem, if I may say, not only for the academic world, but across or beyond or transcending the academia is, you know, we talk about values just now. I started questioning the distinction or perhaps the division of Sharia into, you know, faith and akhlaq, values, and positive law, or the fiqh for that matter. I started to see the point that even values are not values per se. Values are basically very much having intimate relationship with positive law. We need to say, in other words, values are new jurisprudence. In fact, values, the moment we leave it as values, that's why we are falling down, you know, to the bottom of the hill. So we need to rethink of values as part and parcel, the subset of the fiqh. The ahkam at-tafsili al-amaliyah, I think we need to reconstruct and rethink the very division of fiqh. Fiqh has been taught in our classroom during my time, during your time, and perhaps in the next 100 years, unless we change it. Al-ahkam al-amaliyah al-mustanbata min adillati tafsiliyah, the specific practical ruling which are derived from very specific evidence of Quran and Sunnah. This needs some reconstruction and reinterpretation, if you like. So values are subset of fiqh. Values of, you know, coming on time. Values of checking the assessment. Sorry, the market. They call script, exam script of the student diligently and carefully, and not just going through quickly one page, only 1 second, without going through the detail of the, because you have signed to become lecturer, you have to take the whole package. If you like lecturing, fine, but you need to be honest to the exam script. You need to be honest to not only to teach, but also to build the personality of the student in the classroom. You need to spend more time, eye contact, this and that. I have been talking about that for many, many years already, but looking to negative part of it, the values of, plagiarisms, using the student ideas and perspective from the assignment, this and that, and many other things where the lecturers are tempted. Some of them are tempted to beat the system and to be one of the best. I have seen many cases even at many other universities, not only copying the ideas of the student, but also among the lecturers themselves when they are in the group of doing something between the senior lecturer and junior lecturer. This is bullying, basically. This is the new dimension of fiqh of bullying that is happening within the academia. The problem, I think we have detached values from the fiqh. Number two, we need to understand back our religion, the Islamic teaching, because Islam has specific laws in the areas of the laborers, the foreign, the al-ibad or the raqa'iq in old time. Now, how do we deal with our mates and our foreign workers in the labor camp? So this is new fiqh that we need to install and incorporate. The same goes to the refugees, ahkamul laji'in. We have not discussed it in the past, but now it becomes very much relevant. How do we manage all the refugees in Malaysia? And we tend to look down at them, and because we are not in their position. So where are we, Majlis Agama Islam, the university? Are we going to give them the scholarship, special, fast track to their student, to their children to come to our university or school for that matter, the right for education? So the more we discuss about the gravity of Sharia and fiqh, the more we can make ourselves relevant. And I would wish, without going into detail, that the ASA, the Academic Staff Association of IUM, why can't you take this challenge to write a new jurisprudence of academia, a new fiqh of academia, let's say 1 chapter each, and try to focus on this, that, or so many things that you are saying just now. The time would not allow me to go into detail, but I'm putting the framework for everyone to start thinking that we need to start writing about the new jurisprudence for the new area of professionalism, and the workplace and academia should be the role model. We cannot be working in void. We need to roll out the new jurisprudence covering what you mentioned: trust deficit, the behavior, the role model, the level of performance vis-a-vis negligence, and so on and so forth.
Okay, Datuk. Before I go to the next question, what is your view on the academic world, especially in IUM or other universities, when you were an academia in the universities now and then? So what's your evaluation on the situation, the pertaining fiqh halal and haram, the value, the integrity and amanah?
I think I'm not the right role model to start off. I'm still learning. When I was a lecturer before, I tend to work extra mile a bit. This is something that I think everyone needs to work extra mile. What do I mean by extra mile? Meaning to say you need to give more, a little bit more than the expected, minimalist approach. I have seen some of my colleagues, not many, but some, are going on the minimalist approach. I don't think minimalist approach is good for a role model profession, as such as, with the title of the lecturer. So we need to go a bit further in terms of preparing the notes, updating the notes, engaging with the student, building the love and the passion in the heart of the student, make them attached to you and vice versa. Make them feeling that you are their brother or their father for that matter. And when it comes to the teamwork, you need to show that you are not selfish. you are willing to complement one another. If one deputy dean cannot perform, the other deputy dean can be in his shoe to cover for whatever reason, and vice versa. So this is something I try my best to do it. You have to support your dean, you have to support your the deputy rector all the way to rector. And sometimes you've got to volunteer to do many other things that people are not willing to do. Be ready to raise your hand and volunteer to do things which are not paid for. This is the role model aspect. The negative aspect, I've seen, I was deputy dean for about 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. I have to deal with the lecturers who are arrogant with the student, who are putting the threat to the student by saying, if you don't follow my script of answer, my thinking process, you're going to fail. And I need to monitor that student, that lecturer all the way. Even I need to pull the exam script to ensure that the lecturer will be fair enough to give the reward, to mark the script accordingly. So many other things, and I have seen some of the lecturers being involved in unethical, conduct. I need to be part of advisory to him, and eventually I have asked him to leave the university, which he did. So this is the thing that we have to do, because the role model aspect of lecture is so high, and this is the place where you come in, it's one-way ticket. Perform or face the consequence. So then I move up to the deputy rector. I have to look into the student affairs. Was not that involved in the academic world. Then I have resigned from the university. Then I was called back to become the board of governors for 3 years. I was young still. Yeah, thank you. I didn't want to take the post, but I was put under pressure to take the post by Tan Sri, the late almarhum Tan Sri Sanusi. May Allah bless his soul. He's like a father to me. He appointed me deputy director. He also impressed me to become board of governors. I didn't manage well. I was so young when I came to the board of governors meeting. I was thinking like an academician in the Senate hall. So as a Senate member so it was not too early for me to become the board of governors. I felt it in myself. So again, as part of Amanah integrity, you have to feel something you're not capable. You're not capable. Step down and do something else. Upscale yourself, if you like. So I attended my resignation. I was traveling all the way in the early part of my formation of my company. I told him I can't take because I'm not contributing a lot, being absent and being not relevant to the discussion. Then now I was invited to come back. In between, I was invited to come back as rector 2 times during the whatever period. I declined because it's too late for me to come back to the university, because I wanted to pursue my dream in the corporate world in many parts of the business line. Then I was invited to come back as the president by then Dr. Mazli Malik when he was appointed as the minister. I think August, whatever, I can't recall. I went to his house. I declined politely. I don't think I'm qualified, to take the post. Then he appointed, or he was made the president for a few months. Then the rest is history. Then I was called again to consider, consider the post for the second time, which reluctantly I have given my because a friend is asking me to do some favor, and he knows that I'm a part of UAE, and I'm still on the international level, so perhaps I can contribute to the university. So this is my whole career of journey in UAE. I know where's my level, and I will step down if I cannot deliver, or I will upscale myself, which I did all the time. Perhaps I'm the only Sharia scholar in Malaysia who has done the LLB as a 4 years program, 6 years program, having 2 degree, standalone degree, because I wanted to be a man of integration, a man of that UAE is calling for integration. But how many lecturers challenge for you, Dr. Hafiz, and many other colleagues, how many of us are willing to take the challenge to be an integrated person, which I did, alhamdulillah, that I moved to banking, finance, data nowadays, and many other things. So, so coming back to the whole thing, my own experience, the meaning of amanah, integrity, and performance cannot be defined in a very small scale. We should and we ought to define it according to the requirement of the hour. We are not living in 70s or 80s or last century or last few decades. We are living for the future. So everyone should be thinking big and should dream big and should make themselves relevant, not now, but in the next 5 to 10 years. This is the job. How can we prepare our students for the future if we are not ourselves trendy and fashionable? Yeah.
Right. My next question is, how can we apply or extend the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the boundaries of halal and haram and the issue of shubhah in an academic setting, which is as academics in performing our duties and responsibilities, what should we do in facing ethical dilemmas? For example, the demand to publish might force, quote unquote, some to resort to questionable practices such as free riding on the works of students or cliques. So how we put ourselves to apply or extend the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Please, sir.
I think the question should be presented back to you and the ASA. I have hinted just now or alluded just now that this kind of fiqh, to make it clear to everyone, to make it more personalized and more relevant to your profession, we need to write everything in detail. There are many other aspects which have not been written. If Al-Marwadi has written on Ahkam al-Sultaniyah, Al-Ahkam al-Sultaniyah in the 6th or 7th century of Hijrah, we need to do the same thing for Al-Ahkam Al-Ahkam al-Muallimin or Ahkam al-Asatidha, Al-Ahkam al-Asatiziyah, whatever name you might call it, and we can put in detail one by one the integrity in publication, the integrity in the code, the integrity in the note, the integrity in examination, the integrity in personality, and from there we go to the performance. Because again, in the one-sided or simple-minded community, we like to highlight the values all the time: integrity and amanah, integrity and amanah. But we rarely discuss about the impact of it. There's no point of talking about values and values and values. There's no impact measurement. There's no performance metric to measure the performance of your values. In the corporate world, they value everything. They value the meaning of integrity. They have 1,001 questions to measure whether you're a man of integrity or not. 1,001 questions for you to go through. If you fail to answer, or you skip the question, or you have answered wrongly, and that reflect your integrity on the paper, and they have peer-to-peer assessment. We don't have peer-to-peer assessment. I'm on the board of directors every year. We need to be assessed by our peers, and it was so painful, to be honest. I was crying sometimes to see the feedback of your own peers in the same board for the last 1 year. Not to mention the chairman of the board. So everyone was so objective. So this culture need to be, and when it comes to peer assessment, we can see, well, someone might be reported to be cheating, for example, in his paper or article or presentation, in his ideation and whatnot. So coming back to your question just now, it's not that easy to give a specific answer for each question, but I would encourage everyone to develop the fiqh of academia, for example, or the code of ethic of academia and IUM perspective, for example. So we have to make our branding in market. We need to sell the name of the UAE as well. So this is something that if you can select among yourself, I can be the mentor if you like, the young mentor, not the old mentor, okay? to guide everyone. This is something you have to look for in the literature of Islamic teaching, Adabiyat Islamiyah to Mu'assalah, the authentic literature. And we discussed briefly before we started the session that our scholars in the past have become very, deep down. They dive deep into many aspects of fiqh. Fiqh of the an-nisa, the woman, fiqh of orphan, fiqh of underprivileged, fiqh of al-mazlumin, fiqh of al-hisbah, the rulers and the rule, and so on and so forth. So this is something which is lacking, and that's why we cannot progress further. So thank you for having this session, and I can be the advisor to these projects. And if any other support you need from me, let me know. But make it happen. Make it happen not in the next 2 years or 3 years. I don't believe in something more than 6 months. We need to make it happen within 6 months. And this is the way we are trained in the corporate world. You cannot be taking your own time. And this is also the performance side of it. Oh, I'm people of Amanah, I take my own time. In one country I went to for Islamic banking and finance, I met the chairman of the national level of the Sharia Council. They have many board members, and he was so proud to say to me that, Dr. Daud, in our country, we are very, very proud that we only issue 1 or 2 fatwa per year for any product coming to us. Not like Malaysia. You tend to issue fatwa every month or every week. So I'm not saying that issuing more fatwa is better than issuing no fatwa, but the progressive mind. I don't think the society can move with one or two fatwa in a year. There are so many issues in the market, so many things coming up every week, every month. But the way we do things has been very, very slow. That's why even at UAE in particular, if I can speak freely, I can see that things are moving very, very slow. And if I were to use my own metrics of performance, I don't regard this as high performance, just a normal performance. As you know, Dr. Abu Hafiz and other colleagues, Islam encourages us to be of performance and high performance, and what more, which is more important, high performance on critical matters. Sometimes we are so busy, we are so well performing, so we are well performers, but not on critical matters, something which are not immediate to us, which are too far-fetched from our needs of the society. So we need to be fast, speedy, and be relevant at the same time. So yeah, I mean, take the challenge and create the code of ethics or halal haram in academia, IUM perspective. That would be a good project moving forward.
All right, lovely. If I may, that the challenge will be accepted by the committee of ASA, because Dr. Irwan and Dr. Adli are also with us in this session. So inshallah, we will have a good discussion and mentor here. The willingness is there. So inshallah, we will do some effort towards that, sir. All right. My question here next is about, you talk about the culture of corporate world, objectivity, and so on. IUM here is more than 30 years. And why? And what is the hurdles or the barrier that we cannot have that objectivity, we cannot have that culture from the corporate world into this university or even academia in our university? What you think the issues here?
Do you want me to be diplomatic or be transparent?
Yeah, this is a frank and honest session, sir. Please.
Okay, we make it private and confidential, though we are in YouTube. Okay. I think first thing first. I mean, be full of respect and openness. I think in the past, we tend to look at the corporate world as a world of evil, world of nothing is good is expected from the corporate world, and we thought we are the master, the ustaz of everything. I was one of them in the past. We thought we are the angel on this world, having two wings to fly around. And we know the meaning of integrity and amana and this and that. We preach them a lot, and we thought we are the master of the master. Whereas in the corporate world, they don't preach, but they need to do it to comply with the law, to comply with the stakeholders, to comply with the expectation of the regulator in some cases, if they are regulated by someone, either the Bursa Malaysia, or if they are public state companies, or Bank Negara, or Suruhanjaya Securities Commission in Malaysia, for that matter. In our case, there's no need to comply. We just preach, and no one will come and monitor us. And in our report, in fact, there's no one to regulate us. No regulator in academic world. If you live in this world without having the culture of fear, even to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, you can't perform. You cannot perform. You have to have fear and love, as Ibn Taymiyyah was saying. Al khawfu wal raja, al khawfu wal raja. And this is the role of regulator. Basically, they give you the hope, they give you the fear that you need to comply. They call it comply or face the consequence. In the university, we don't teach the consequence side of it. That's why we take everything very much linear, very much textbook orientation, very much personal and not organizational development. In the corporate world, no longer personal issue. In the university, we have 1 or 2 or 3 good professor, good lecturer, good guy, good administrator. We are happy. In the corporate world, no. We need to make everyone good and everyone performing to support the institution or the company, for that matter. And the department will be rated or graded collectively, to be honest, and not by the performance of head of department or the key personnel and so on and so forth. So number one, we tend to look at the corporate world negatively. I think we need to change that. We need to learn from each other. Then the second element is that we think that we have nothing to do with the corporate world, even for our students, and that is very, very painful for me. I feel it a bit depressed if we continue thinking along that way, that we don't teach our students to become the workers, to become the employees in the industry, which is very, very wrong, because you need to teach our students to be of good personality and good worker. And I've been saying this without any diplomacy, any fear or favor, because I have gone through that process. I think if we were to teach our students to be good men, is easy. Nothing to be proud of. To be honest, if you teach your student to be alim, to be good behavior, to be mu'addab, to be sahibul khuluq, to be this and that, though it's challenging, but if you can do that, nothing to celebrate of. What is to be celebrated for is to teach them to be a good person and a good citizen and a good worker that can contribute to the GDP of the country. Because without GDP, we can't move. We cannot even get the budget for the university if our GDP and our income ratio is going down and down, if we have the unemployment rising, going up from day to another. So this is the whole, the perception to the corporate world, and the other one, our student has nothing to do with the corporate world. And this has become my 2 pain points, okay? Pain point. Titik-titik kecederaan and kesakitan in many universities in Malaysia. So I'm going to fight for that. I wanted to remove we talk about integration, is that right? We talk about integration. We have very narrow-minded definition of integration. Sorry to say that. I have mentioned that in a few of my speeches as the president. We need to broaden the meaning of integration of corporate world and academic world. In other words, we bring the corporate world to the university, to the academic, and we bring the academic courses to the industry. This is the way forward. And this is the meaning of the whole integration. Our MBA, our Quranic teaching, and Aqidah teaching, and what have you. Why can't we bring that to the I-101 teaching for the new staff at the SAMDB or PMB or Tabung Haji and what have you, and vice versa. We bring the financial modeling of whatever property development, property distribution, the issue of marketing, the issue of sustaining and maintaining B40 in the approach to the university to be researched by our lecturers. So this is the way forward. By doing that, our students can benefit. And for that matter, I have many other factors to contribute, but I think if we can look into our own definition of integration, I think we can learn a lot from the corporate world. Just to share with you, I have tested around in the university at many levels. Not many, level of management and the academician in particular are aware of the meaning of government. They have no idea what does the government mean and how do we govern our conduct, meeting, decision, implementation, consolidation, reporting in the manner of, in the best manner according to the government standard. No idea whatsoever. So the ISA, you should take this one of your agenda, governance in academics, the academic governance. What do we mean by academic governance? We have the administration governance, financial governance, environment governance, but where are we in terms of academic governance? It's a lot to be discussed, a lot to be deliberated, and this is part of your perhaps new field of for the academia, perhaps. Yeah.
Okay, Datuk. In our university, at least we have two very important components, which is the academics and the management. And we do acknowledge that we got some problems among the academics and as well as in management. The room for improvement, to serve our students, to deliver and to have a good and high impact, high performance students. While the spotlight is often on academics, we are as the academics, we are as well as employees of a university. Often the ecosystem of an academic institution might facilitate trespassing the haram boundaries. What can the management of universities do to ensure that it does not encourage or facilitate questionable behavior among the academics?
Okay, I have to, put on record that the standard of governance, the standard of good behavior must apply across the board to both administrators and the academic staff alike. And perhaps there could be some tension between the two groups, and this requires a lot of wisdom, a lot of openness in approaches. When I was at the university before, I can see that quite, vividly clear, if you like. And I hope by now or by the current time, the divergence between the academic world and the administrative world has been reduced to a level which make everyone of this on the same level of having the level playing field. I'll give one good example. In my old time, I can sense that the requirement for academic staff to be promoted is quite rigorous, but not in comparison to the administrative staff. So this is something I'm sure by now that has been reduced significantly, because for you to go up the higher level, you need to be tested, you need to be verified, and you need to be assessed and measured. But the assessment sometimes having two different level of rigorosity. For the academic, they have to do this, they have to do that, they have to publish, they have to teach, they have to be in a society, they have to do what have you. When it comes to administrator, only one job spec, which is not right. No, we have to be able to compensate the academic world that they have done a bit extra, we have to reduce the point relevant to their respective strength of contribution, because they are supposed to do so many things. This good, but some people cannot do almost everything, but we have to be fair with them. If they're good in teaching, give a better point for teaching segment, though they are not that active in research or in community service. And the same goes to the admin staff. Perhaps they are not well in other segments, but they're well in one or two. Then give them proper assessment. But you cannot ask 10 things from the lecturer or academic staff. You can you ask only 2 or 3 things from the admin staff to get the senior post of whatever user B or C or A, whatever it is. So, and accordingly to other level of promotion. So, the panel of remuneration of the university must look into this aspect from the humanistic point of view, from the fairness point of view, to create the unnecessary tension internally. So we have to be seen as fair when it comes to the promotion. We are strict, we are rigorous on both sides, you know, of the university community or fraternity. Coming back to your question just now, you are, I understand from your question, you are saying that the administrators, what do the administrators need to do to govern the conduct of the academic staff? Yeah, I think they are doing whatever they can to monitor and to measure your performance in terms of questionable action by the academic staff. I would encourage the ASA working with Deputy Director of Academic to have your own standard. It become crafted and constructed by yourself to be discussed at the UMC, University Management Committee, because that reflect your own version of how do you want to be governed by the university, and that would reflect first, it's a goodwill of the academic staff to be governed by a standard. Number two, that reflect your own value embedded in that particular code of conduct. And the third, you are helping the university. Perhaps the administrator fail to understand your job and they are putting many things which are not relevant to you. You know how, if I can use the word, the criminal mind of the lecturers, you can arrest that by putting your own standard to avoid and to mitigate any questionable action from the lecturers. I'm not going to speak a lot on the questionable action of the academic staff because that could be negative, but I know these things are happening in one way or another. We need to arrest them and we need to mitigate and perhaps, and put a very severe punishment. As the president of the university, I cannot tolerate on two things: governance issue and corruption. Of course, cheating comes under governance, corruption under the criminal mind. So one is criminal, one is negligent, not paying much attention to the detail. We just sign and approve without checking. This is governance issue. But corruption requires a lot of criminal mind to be planning for that. Corruption requires a lot of planning. Governance does not does not require a lot of planning. It happens sometimes because of negligence, and if it involves the attitude of negligence all the way, and that involves a lot of complication to the university, then it will require severe punishment. Again, for the university, I mean, if I can say it openly, not very often I have this kind of platform to speak. When it comes to university rules and regulation, we are very strict when it comes to student or lecturers caught, of khalwat or whatever the sharia criminal offences. But when our staff, either academic or admin staff, were caught of cheating, financial record, overclaim, or whatever financial corruption, the punishment has been for the last how many years very, very light. And that's why I discovered and I wanted to put a stop on that, because there's no distinction between offense to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and an offense which originate from the lack of integrity and amanah to the community. And that is the message I'm sending across. And for that matter, I got many problems now because I have seen to be very strict on this issue on the staff disciplinary cases that are coming to my table. Yeah.
I think the financial corruption is must be regarded as un-Sharia or the mistakes under the Sharia as well, is it?
To level up.
All right.
To level up, because it demolish the religion, it demolish the society.
Indeed, indeed. All right. I got one question here in the chat box. Here, Datuk, some understand or define plagiarism as to steal and pass off the ideas or words of another as one's own. What is your opinion to those who argued that he or she owned the idea for an idea that did not acted upon? So what's your response?
What is your opinion to those who argue that he or she owned the idea for an idea that did not acted upon? Are we referring to those who plagiarize or those who have been victim in this case? I'm not so sure.
I think from the one who took it from students or other colleagues and make it as his own.
Okay, I think this is a very clear-cut offense, basically, even for one or two words which are very much unique in that expression. Even the term, of course, he might invented his own term, but if it can be proven that he has heard this term, or he has whatever the term from someone else, or any code and formula from somewhere else, then this could be argued that he has taken someone's idea. What more if you have taken one paragraph or one article and whatnot? In my case, I have written an article called Euthanasia, the mercy killing in Islamic perspective, the Qatul Rahmah fi Shari'at al-Islamiyah. And I found another great scholar in Malaysia have taken my article word by word, line by line, but I didn't take any action because he was so respected person in the community. So I just waived my right not to take any action. This is glaring offense, but in the academic world, it could not be the whole, article, few sentence or few words, and even ideas, the theory of. So you have, when we are challenged, and in fact, I have seen few cases in the university. Allow me to say this. The judges being appointed to look into these cases must be of high caliber and high credential. I'm not saying that because someone might argue his idea was taken, which is not right. Or the other one, someone has argued that he has not taken others' idea and opinion. So the one who have been instructed as the judges need to have a long breath, to be honest, to understand this is a very serious case, and we cannot be dispensing justice in one or two sittings. We have to study the chronology, they call it the language used, the syntax of it, and the background of it, and otherwise you are going to commit injustice to one or the other. This is a very general advice for the university. If we have any cases of plagiarism brought to the staff disciplinary committee, and before that the investigation, we need to put someone who is fully trained to really understand the plagiarism in and out, so that those who are accused or those who is accuser cannot be given any privilege in this particular issue. When we do have the expert at the moment, so we need to train someone, send him to understand the wording, the language, and the internet and what have you, and I hope I'm not asking something great, but this is something we need to do the justice to everyone who are involved in the whole proceeding.
Right. I think we got like 20 minutes more for this
Yeah.
session. I got another 2 or 3 questions.
Yeah.
Datuk, as a new staff here, me myself, in IIUM, whether we like it or not, we can feel the tension between the academics and the management, whether we like it or not. And here, when I go around and talk to people, we can feel it when we talk to the colleagues and so on. I believe this kind of situation must be resolved, must be addressed, to talk about it and to resolve it. We cannot put things under the carpet anymore. We need to talk about it, we need to address it, and we cannot have the toxic relationship between the academics and the management. So how we can address the issue of trust deficit among academics and the management, in which academic members might not believe that the management is acting in their best interest, while the management has in place all sorts of mechanisms, the requirement to clock in and clock out, or having to be present physically on campus, although teaching and learning conducted online, which suggests that they do not fully trust academics. So as I started this session, we need a frank and honest discourse and discussion. So what and how you respond to this kind of situation, please?
Yeah, I think if you and the one who put the question just now feel strongly about this case, which you have the right to question and to express your opinion. And that, if that is true to some extent, I think ASA need to, elevate that further, 1 level up, 2 level up, as the case may be, to have a very much open discussion, because this feeling is not healthy in the long run. And we do want to feel that when we walk in the university, we know that the one who have superpower is administrator or the academician, as a case may be in some universities. So this feeling cannot be sustained and does not make the university sustainable moving forward. And for that matter, you have to review all the processes of, confirmation, the promotion, and even reward and acknowledgement across the university. And when I was the lecturer before, I had the same feeling, to be honest. Then I became the deputy dean. I started to interact with the administrators. By interacting with them, I understand their limitation to some extent. At the same time, in the past, I'm not sure about now, they have overlooked many things, to be honest. They have overlooked so many things that they don't understand the academic world that much. So we need to onboard them to our world of academics. What do we do? What we are expected to do, and the way we do things. And this was rarely communicated and brought forward. So you have with you deputy dean, deputy rector academics, and the other deputy rector, you have the rector himself. Talk to him and have in your schedule at least monthly meeting. You have all the right to see the big boss once a month and to interact with him on this issue and that issue. It's a long journey, of course, and at the end of the day, the board of governors checked by the president himself. So you have all the right to, when it comes to the policy, if you think that some policies are double-sided or one-sided or not that objective enough, that give more pressure unnecessary to the lecturers vis-a-vis the admin staff. So you have the right to voice that. We are living in the world of engagement. Don't be worried and afraid of engagement. Speak freely, politely, of course, and put your own argument. And in the case of lockup, you have to clock in, clock out. I think there's something, there's no hard rule, hard and fast rule on that. There's no right and wrong. So you might need to discuss thoroughly on that issue. I'm sure the administrators of the university would be happy to listen and consider what is the request. It depends on the university policy. In my company, sometimes in certain cases I believe in output, not the input. Sometimes during certain time I believe in both output and input. It depends from time to time. So we need to be flexible enough in the management. Whatever it is, the bottom line metric is very important. If we don't have a very strong bottom line metric in the university, then we become panicky and we don't know how to govern the university and govern even the nation and the state and the country for that matter. So you need to put the outcome, the so-called the output of the work, and that is very important for anyone given the role and the function. Let's say if the lecturers are expected to do this and that and this, so what are the criteria for the university, the dean, and of course all the way up to monitor the performance of these few lecturers in this area of respect, given their maturity, their experience, and their level of academic title and whatnot. So this is something to be communicated to the lecturers. I believe, Dr. Hafiz, that if we communicate the bottom line to the lecturers, that can relieve the tension to some extent, to a large extent. But do we have the bottom line metric? I don't know about that. I need to ask around. In the corporate world, we have the bottom line. Bottom line make everyone happy or not happy, and this is the rule of the game. You have to make yourself familiar with the bottom line at the end of the day. Yeah.
So one related question to this, to your response just now, is about what is your view on unwillingness or reluctance or refusal even while there is a demand to act? Are we really justifying our job scope? How far we from amanah and integrity? Because we should have, and we need, I think we can agree that we need the communication and we need also the commitment. You can listen, I can listen to you, but I don't want to act upon your request. That's another question.
I think difficult for me to say you can simply ignore that instruction, because that can be charged under insubordination, because whenever you work in any organization, you need to follow the order and the instruction. If I were in your case, I have to comply with that. I have to follow the instruction. Though I'm not happy, I can write in, I can use all other channels to express my dissatisfaction. You can do that. But as a worker, at any level of any organization, you need to comply with that expected or required instruction. There's no other way around. There's no two ways of doing that. It's only one way of doing that. I was asked when I reported for duty when I finished my PhD in 1994 in Feb or early Feb or end of Jan 1994. I came to the university in Petrinjaya. I said to the Deputy Dean, almarhum, my beloved mentor and teacher, Dr. Mahmud Saidun, Ustaz, I'm here to report the duty. I have completed my PhD in 3 years, as I promised to you. He said, well, welcome back. Inshallah, in the next 1 month, I would like you to teach and develop new course outline. And these two new course outlines are Fiqh al-Mu'amalat al-Mu'asirah and Fiqh al-Zakat al-Mu'asirah, the contemporary financial matters, whatever, and the contemporary zakat issues. I said to him, this is unfair for me. I did my PhD in Usul Fiqh. So why are you asking me to write two new module or course outline in two areas which are not related to my subjects or my expertise? So I don't care. You have to do it. So I was not happy with him for 2-3 months. Then after that, I discovered that that man has a wisdom for me. I become what I have become because I have taken the challenge to become a new young scholar, developing my new expertise in the financial matters and zakat for that matter. I'm not saying this applies to all the cases, but sometimes you need to take the challenge and you need to, but don't ever, refuse to do the instruction. But if you think it's unfair, it's too much, you have all the right in the civil society to write a motion. But the problem, which I said in my posting on fiqh halal wa haram, some people got revenge. The mindset of revenge, the mindset of if people write letters of dissatisfaction, we thought the people are not respecting us. This is so bad. This is not right. I think to become a good leader, you have to have a good heart. Yes, this is my instruction, the best I can think of for the best of the university. But if I were to receive any letter of, complaint, dissatisfaction, take it positively, take it honestly, because we are human beings. We need to respect one other, each other perspective. The problem starts when the staff refuse to do things, and when the senior bosses refuse to listen, and in fact started to take the policy of revenge, which is another fiqh in our modern society. We tend to commit revenge in whatever way. We don't listen to him, we don't promote him, we don't give him any opportunity, we complicate the matter for him, and this is the policy of revenge. Siyasatul intiqam, mean to say the policy of taking the revenge, and because for one reason, because someone we thought is not respecting us, or perhaps not following our instruction nicely and smoothly. This is not the case. In organization, we need to expect not a very smooth sailing kind of thing. This is the meaning of organization. Not your company, not your own house. It's organization that does not belong to you. You are managing people, and people are having many different perspectives. To become a good leader, you need to manage everyone, not yourself. You have to manage other people. If you are managing yourself, don't be a leader. Go and be in the cave, and you can be happy with yourself. But to become a good leader, you need to listen. Ad-dinu an-nasiha. Qalu liman? Qal lillahi wa li rasulihi wa li ammatil mu'minina wa ammatihim. The advice, the core principle of this religion is, advice or giving nasiha. To whom? Or the Prophet? To Allah, His Messenger, and to the leaders of the community and the community members. So this is a very interesting hadith. If in the case of Hajj, Al-Hajju Arafah, is it right? Al-Hajju Arafah, in this case, Ad-Dinu an-Nasiha, the core, the very core of the religion is ability to give advice and to be advised. Yeah.
All right. We got one question here about what you said just now, bring university to the industry. If we bring university to industry, what do you think about us charging expensively for the course? For example, instead of giving free talks to the industry, what do you think if we charge the talk per hour?
Well, I do the same thing, to be honest.
Right.
When I give lecture to all the student NGO, I don't charge anything. Even at the mosque, I don't charge anything. This is my philosophy. I'm talking to the student every week, every 2 days now, with a webinar, with many classes of academics, institution. But when I teach the bankers and what have you, I charge extensively because they have the money to pay you, and don't feel guilty of doing that. They have the budget for that. But they expect a good quality. They don't want to teach you and you can't preach them. Qala Allahu, qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you're charging them 1,000. I mean, I'm not saying this cannot be done, but they expect something niche. They have the problem of, for example, of managing the integrity in the organization. So how can you bring the case study from, all the cases of the world, the issue of Enron, for example, where the director, didn't put the proper report on the impairment of the asset for about 6 years. And during these 6 years, they just managed to get the bonuses. And after 7 years, they discover that the asset has dropped the value for the last 6 years. Impairment has gone up and go up, took all the value of the company to zero. So we have to bring the cases of the day for them to relate, and we bring the hadith of the Prophet that taught about la khilaba, for example, the Prophet companion, the very famous one, to avoid any fraud and cheating in the transaction. And the background of the hadith, who is the rawi of this hadith, and this is something you can bring to the industry. They need that kind of input. But don't feel guilty. But you are wrong if you're not charging them a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the last question before I will let you to conclude our session is about students as workers. Datuk, you mentioned about developing students as workers. Does it mean that we encourage them to be leaders in clubs, mahallas, societies, or can we say undergrad should start part-time jobs or even help in administrative level, say helping kuliah to organize conference and webinars? Could you please elaborate the working environment or motivation that these students need in order for them to have the corporate minds upon their graduation? Could you give examples that could be relevant to health sciences students, perhaps, please?
Okay. If you are doing all of that you mentioned just now, you are just doing up to 30% of the required preparation to become a potential worker in the future. Meaning to say, there are many things to be done in this university. 2 years or 1 year at the matriculation and 4 years at the university is a long period of time. We can transform this young boy and girl to become, as good as, what should I say, a banker or a communicator or project planner or project manager or a marketing guy or industry relation officer or risk manager or financial controller and what have you. And this is 6 years, and these people are students are brilliant guy. They are not easy, they're cream of the cream, but we don't challenge their mind. This is the problem. Even at the lectures room, we don't challenge the student mind. We just teach them the academic stuff by not bringing the real cases in the classroom. The lecturers can feel about 10 to 20% of the working mindset. The resume and the biodata, for example, have not seen throughout my life. Even I didn't do that myself when I was lecturing. We don't ask our lecturers, our students, to write their own CV to us. Let's say we come to the 40 packs of students in our class. I say, well, my student, before we start off next week, I would like you to write your own biodata, selling yourself. Who are you to me? I think if the lecturers were to do that, every single one or half of them are doing that, I think the student got to think how to sell themselves and how to see their deficiencies. Let's say the skill, English or Arabic bahasa, then send to us, well, how good are you out of 10, for example? You need to skill themselves. So the more you give a challenge, you are preparing them to make themselves more qualified in the for the next 4 years, for example. So this is a very basic thing. In fact, some kuliah I have discovered, their student never understood the meaning of resume or biodata or CV for that matter. So this is as simple as that, and so on and so forth. So the university got to be serious about making our student employable. Otherwise, we are, being responsible and accountable for failing to make our student employable compared to the other students of the other university. So I would like to appeal to the academician and also the administrators of the university. Please rethink and please, adjust everything that you do or plan to do to make our student a better citizen, a better Muslim, and a better qualified worker in the context of private sector, as well as to work on their own as entrepreneurs. Don't plan or prepare them to be working in the government. The job in the government sectors are becoming limited and depleting as we speak. So prepare them to become to be able to work in the corporate sector with certain skill that you need to do, and perhaps a small portion of them will become entrepreneurs, the job creator and job makers in the society. Thank you.
Okay, for the conclusion, sir, what can be done to foster an environment which nurtures values such as being trustworthy, amanah, and having integrity among us, even the academics, the management, and even the students in our university, please?
Very tough question to answer, but to make it simple as the concluding words from me, we need to put the narrative clear in the mind of everyone. We need to create the culture of governance, performance, very much visible within the fraternity. We need to put all the poster. We need to put all the in the leaf, in the big board and whatnot, emphasizing on the very culture of governance, integrity, and performance. Number one, if you go to any corporate building, the big one, you can see that whenever you enter to the building, they have put their mission statement for the governance everywhere, in the cafe, in the surau, in the lift, in the corridor, in the meeting room, and what have you. So number two, we need to create a role model. We need to award those who are of high integrity and amanah, and we have to strengthen the metrics of performance culture in this university. I have the feeling, I wish I'm wrong, that the metrics of performance with regard to amanah, integrity, and performance is still lacking in the university, not only at our university, but across the board. That's why those who are of integrity and amanah cannot be seen quite easily, and those who are just so can go up quite easily because there's no metric of performance to test their real qualities in the real time, either in front of people or when he or she is alone. So we need to beef up the metric of performance in great detail. The detailed prescription of performance, of integrity and amanah, the better for the institution, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters and colleagues, even though I saw a lot of questions come in, but we don't have so much time to address each and every question. I think we need to perhaps to have this kind of honest and frank session. I let to Asa to decide it, whether we need to have it another one. But Alhamdulillah, I believe we have had such an informative and good discourse pertaining halal and haram in academia and related to amanah and integrity values. To sum up, even though academia is a sacred world for knowledge and nurturing Islamic or good values, it cannot be denied that challenges and trials from within still exist and must be addressed and resolved. Therefore, we can overcome it and at least try to minimize the opposite values, as we should embrace and adopt it as academics in academia, and for sure in our garden of knowledge and virtue. As your host for today, I would like to say thank you very much to our guest, Datuk Dr. Daud Bakar, the President of International Islamic University of Malaysia, for your commitment and willingness to be our guest today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless and protect you and all of us. And I think that's all from me today. Thank you everyone for watching and stand still with us from the beginning until the end. See you on our next program. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and take care everyone.
Thank you. My pleasure. Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.